Uh, Hare Krishna, my friends. Hare Krishna, and welcome back to the Soul Ashraya podcast. This is a much more frequent podcast where we will study our dear Lord Krishna through prayer and conversation and through scripture, namely the Krishna book. So, welcome once again for this show. Balaram, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. We are live in Sri Dham, Mayapur,
Jai.
Navadvip, India. So we're doing fantastic. The Dham is meaning holy place. It's a very special place. Holy because it purifies us and allows our consciousness to connect with God, you could say, because the Lord was personally present here. So his mercy is very much saturated here. And you feel that, and you feel the presence of the Lord. I was discussing with someone just yesterday how my aunt travels to Jerusalem, and she feels the same thing with Lord Jesus Christ. You know, he was personally present there. You can feel in the ether, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's the mood here, the mood of the Lord here is very sweet, right? Very merciful. It's known as Audarya Dham, is that right, Rajas? Very merciful Dham. Yeah.
Mayapur is a Udharya Dham that even if you are there and if you are engaged in any sinful activity, you won't be, if you utter the name of Krishna, if you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you'll be immediately forgiven for that act. There's no doubt in that. It's been personally instructed by the Acharyas that it's an Audharya Dham. So, yeah.
Verified. Yeah.
Yeah. And in case you are new and you just happened upon this particular episode, I want to introduce our newest addition to the show, who we are just so blessed to have. This is Rajas Prabhu. Is that right?
Yeah, you can call me Raj, as they say,
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. And this guy is really, really cool. And I know he was already on one show, but this is the first time where all three of us are together. So I'm really excited, kind of nervous, but really excited at the same time. So, yes. So, do you want to get right into the prayers?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay, let's do it.
We do the Om Gyanti Mirandasya, right?
Yeah, I'm going to bring them up right now. Mm-hmm.
Being the first one, we finally have Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya on our prayer sheet. So we'll do that 3 times call and response, and if Raj, you'd like to lead us, and then we'll do the rest of them together.
Yep. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Gyanti Mirandasya
Yanandri
Shalakaya Chakshuram
Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Vishnu
Padaya Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Bhutale Srimate
Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nikinayamini Namaste Saraswati Devi
Gauravani Prachari Nirvishesha Paschatya Deshatarini Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Idana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya Shri Advaita Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai. All right, let me bring up the text. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. If you guys, oh, if you can just I'm gonna work on bringing up the text right now. If you want to just start talking about where you left off from last episode, just to get it primed up. Here it is.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about Brahma Jyoti in the sense of the light, right? Standing in the light of reality, right? And that's really the whole point, is just being in the light, being connected with God somehow or other, right? Rupa Goswami says, somehow or other, bring your mind to Krishna, remember Krishna, absorb your minds, right? Our mind is meant to be absorbed. Rather, our nature is to be absorbed, right? Our nature is to be absorbed in something. And when we're not absorbed in something, we're in distress, actually, right? And when we're absorbed in the wrong thing, we get implicated and entangled in things. But standing in the light means you, first of all, disentangle yourself, and then you're able to grow in the sense of absorbing and higher and higher thing, progressively deeper in Krishna consciousness, as we say. So we spoke about that, and spoke about the modes of nature, and we left off speaking about the misconception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepting material qualities when he comes to this material world. And we also put forward the explanation of that in terms of just disregarding a transcendental existence of a supreme being, and thinking that the material elements that we're experiencing are in themselves supreme. So it's sort of saying the same thing. Raj, anything to add?
And we discussed about how, we have this different clouds coming in our life. And we took the example of good times, bad times, where we get that powerhouse, the resource of all the happiness, all energy, everything is the supreme. So establishing the supremacy of the divinity and surrendering to the divinity is what we are actually meant to do. So this is what we discussed last time, and I believe Vasudev is doing this prayer and is glorifying. So the context is we are doing this prayer on Vasudev is doing this prayer, and then in this prayers he's continuing. talking about the divinity, talking about the energetic, talking about Krishna, the God. Yeah.
We're one paragraph up, Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Right here.
Mhm. You want to start reading?
Yeah, I can read for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just need you guys. Mhm. Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is directly and indirectly existing everywhere. He is outside the material creation, and he is also within it. He is within the material creation, not only as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, he is also within the atom. The existence of the atom is due to his presence. Nothing can be separated from his existence. In the Vedic injunctions, we find the supreme soul, or the root cause of everything, has to be searched out because nothing exists independently of the supreme soul. Therefore, the material manifestation is also a transformation of his potency. Both inert matter and the living force, the soul, are emanations from him. Only the foolish conclude that when the Supreme Lord appears, he accepts the conditions of matter. Even if he appears to have accepted a material body, he is still not subjected to any material condition. Krishna has therefore appeared and defeated all imperfect conclusions about the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so wow, that's that's a lot of stuff. One of the names of Vishnu isn't one of the names of Vishnu all pervading? Like I can't remember the exact
What's the meaning of Vishnu? Yeah, Vishnu itself.
is that all pervading?
Yeah.
Is it?
There might be other names that more specifically.
Learning new things every day. Every day. No, I know that there's 1,000 names of Vishnu. Someone who is an awesome artist and who is very near and dear to me is working on a series of collages of all 1,000 names of Vishnu.
Oh.
And I guess I just didn't realize that like that was like like one of the first and like the meaning of Vishnu. So wow. So and anyone else want to say anything about this particular paragraph? Dense, very dense.
Yeah, Balram can go first.
Yeah.
Well, it's speaking about the Lord's existence within and without the universe, inside and outside of the universe, and just making a few points, such as the atom and that the Supreme Soul is the root cause of everything. It has to be searched out. And I guess what I'm getting from that is God is not separate from this creation, you know, in the sense it's like it's not like there's our world here, and then the people that are religious, they believe in something else, like some other, which we also do believe that, that there is a transcendental reality. But even that, it's not like you can't experience that here. It's not like um it's only, or it's like the accessibility is barred from you, or even some religions say like it's only special kinds of souls that can go there, you know either only humans or only particular races of human, which is absurd. And the Bhagavad Gita really breaks that misconception down as far as different types of souls, um, like Jewish souls and Christian souls and Muslim souls and human souls, dog souls. It's like no. It's all this. We're the same spiritually, but that we can actually experience the spiritual world here, just by really tuning in. And it's really just the mind, that keeps us trapped in illusion, because the mind is trying to grab onto different things, and it acts as a filter, right? I accept this, I reject this, or I'm going after this, I'm trying to avoid this, right? This is what our mind is constantly doing, and it's always giving us a menu, right? Like, would you like, rice, or, wheat noodles, or, something like that, right? It's always, do you want to go to this event? Do you want to listen? It's always giving us something to try to absorb our consciousness. And if we can break, and those things are just in our mind, right? What to speak of, as Rajesh was reminding us, the dark and light clouds, good experiences and bad experiences, and we get caught in like the rainy day of the mind, right? And we're having, we can have a very dark experience just within our mind, but that's all that it is. It's just within your mind, and it's based on fear. So the point is, getting into love, which means service, which means I'm getting outside of myself. I'm breaking out of my mind, and I'm rendering myself to the other. And ultimately, that means I'm rendering myself to God. And if I can recognize God in the other, right? If I can recognize God in the deity, for instance, if I can recognize God in the land here in this holy place, there's particular places and objects, if you will, that are charged with spiritual potency. And so gradually, by rendering service, by just simply giving of ourselves, we'll become more sensitive to that. And by hearing as well, this is the point of reading, and this is the point of these prayers, is by reading and hearing these things, we come to understand, oh, okay, he is also within the atom. He's existing as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, right? And the material manifestation is a transformation of his potency. And so everything within this, okay, and this is kind of the bottom line of what I'm trying to get to, is everything within this manifestation is his energy, and we can experience God within it. Like the sound right now, the birds I'm hearing. I don't know if you can, if that mic is picking those up.
Oh yeah, they're nice too.
Nice. Yeah. And then there's the machine, whatever that's called, people working on motorcycles and building buildings, but it's all God, and we can experience it as simply mundane. We can also experience it as, all sound is coming from the ears of the Lord. Everything that we see is coming from his eyes. we look at something and we just see it. God looks and he creates, he creates with his sense organs. He produces, he sets the whole universe in motion with his eyes. So like this, if we, when we read Bhagavad Gita, there's so many keys there for our consciousness to take and unlock, the doors of our consciousness, if you will, and see that, both inert matter and the living force, the soul, are emanations from him. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is like,
Oh, yep.
As Balaram is mentioning about, that the soul is present, and there are many souls. People are thinking that there are many souls, and the souls are identified with a material object or a material position or a material name. So when we are talking about the soul, so many times people say, that, I have pain, my soul is hurt. And when they say that my soul is hurt, you have hurt my soul. And then the question comes, that are you the soul or it's your soul?
Yeah.
Because we are the soul, we are the living entity, and we are the body. The soul, we are inside the body. So it is not that we are proprietor of the soul. We are soul ourselves. Okay. So we cannot think in that way, that keeping soul separate. And even many philosophers in bygone ages, the knowledge has been deviated so much that they even say that Krishna's soul, they consider Krishna to be separate from Krishna's soul. And that's where they enter into this understanding of, that that Krishna's soul is superior to Krishna. Because Krishna came into this material world, so it is Krishna, and Krishna's soul is separate. And that's why we have to understand that there are only two souls existing. One is the soul, where many souls like that, and the other is the super soul. That is only one. That is the divine, that is the God, it's Krishna. There are two souls only existing there. And then the point of that, how that soul is pervading everywhere. So as Jake said, that it has been the word Vishnu itself means pervading everywhere, and there are so many names given, and he is present everywhere in each and every atom and molecule. So then that topic becomes a little scientific when you start analyzing on that subject of that how it's possible. What do you think, Jake? How it's possible that in every atom and molecule, the God is pervading, is there inside. And somebody may say that I cannot see God anywhere. See, there's a phone here. Where is God?
Yeah, of course, people asked Srila Prabhupada that, right? And he might have given several answers, but I believe one was like, do you want to see him? Yeah, it was like this lady, and she was challenging him. And it's like, well, do you want to see him? And she was just quiet, and she said no, and she left. She's like, actually, I guess if I'm really honest, because she hadn't been fully honest with herself, she was just thinking, what do you know? I don't see God. But it's like, well, first of all, you have to desire to see him, which is like, do you want to see him? Do you want to like be seen, and, all of your, inner impurities come to light? Because that's what it would mean, right? But that's not you. And if you don't know that, you're identifying with it, then yeah, you'd be afraid of God. You wouldn't actually want to see him. But then, if you desire to see him, then it's a matter of qualifying yourself to see him, which on another occasion, he said, well, you have to become qualified. If I want to see the president of the United States, I can't just barge in there and, demand to see him. Who am I? Yeah. So president of the universe is also, but the difference is he wants to see all of us. A good president, he'll want to meet his subjects, right? Because he's caring for them. Our problems are his problems. Lord Ram, he understood that. Even if you had a headache, he took that as his fault, his responsibility. Whereas our presidents now, they don't understand that they share a portion of our karma. Yeah. So God is, he doesn't take our karma on, right? By the way, it says, but he still feels, as we are his children, he wants to see us. So he's not hiding, he's not hiding from us. It's just, we're not looking for him.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
a lot of things here. I was wondering, about since I'm a physics student, graduated from a Mumbai University in India in physics, and whenever this topic used to come about atoms, and the Lord been existing, I used to always discuss with my professor, and he used to tell me that, he used to ask me different questions, and he used to challenge me, that can you see the soul? Can you see the God? Like that, as Balaram was discussing. And I used to say a simple thing, I used to ask him, can you see the air? And then he said, we can feel it. I said, same way, if you want to see the soul or you want to see the super soul, you have to have an experience. Rather than, just asking question, I want to see it. So just wanted to add on that. Seeing God, yeah.
Yeah, that's good too. That is really, really good. Yes. I'll keep on reading. I'll pick it up right here with my Lord. My Lord, your appearance, existence, and disappearance are beyond the influence of the material qualities. Because your lordship is the supreme Brahman and the controller of everything, there is nothing inconceivable or contradictory in you. As you have said, material nature works under your superintendence, just like a government officer working under the orders of the chief executive. The influence of subordinate activities cannot affect you, since you are the supreme Brahman. Everything is existing within you. And since all the activities of material nature are controlled by your lordship, none of these activities affect you. Wow.
Oh, we were just saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, our karmas don't affect God, and this is, and the chief executive example is also being used here. It's probably, well, this is Vasudev speaking. It's just like, CEO or the president of the United States. It's like our activities don't have any bearing on his position. He remains supreme, superior. He remains in the superior position always, under all circumstances. And at the same time, he's the controller. And so it's and Prabhupada uses like the analogy of a king, often, because a king is a little bit more like above the rules, we could say. Like he literally is above the rules. He sets the laws. He doesn't have to follow any of the laws. Actually, I'd like to ask you something, Rajas, because I recently heard something about Balaram. The difference between Krishna and Balaram is that Balaram doesn't follow any of the rules, right? Like he's avadut, you know, he breaks all the rules. It's like God in that position. And I don't know if you could speak something on that. Maybe if you
Yeah,
do, I might have a more clear inquiry.
yeah.
So can you say something?
This is so divine, that today only I was giving a class and I was talking about that every mellow, every rasa, every taste is what actually originating from God, Krishna. And the mood in which Balaram is. So Balaram has come as Lord Nityananda in the age of Kali Yuga. And Lord Nityananda is considered to be the Avdut Shiromani. Is like the epitome of being a person who is careless, who is not following any rules, regulations. Is like who don't want to be like that. Every one of us in our life, definitely, sometime as a young boy or a child, we were like, oh, too many rules, and we just give it up. We just want to flow with the wave, flow with the water. I want to go for a wave tide. So Lord Nityananda is Balram himself, and you can see from the life of Lord Nityananda what is an transcendental personality who has not been affected by this material conceptions. Let's say, for an example, we were discussing this that this pastime of Lord Shiva and Mohini Murti. This is a very appropriate example. We can tell us where how we get affected with material things. So this is like Lord Shiva has been attracted to the form of Vishnu in the form of a girl, beautiful looking girl. Her name is Mohini. And Shiva is attracted and he's like running behind her, right? And if we would have been in that place, we would have been easily fallen, like for a male and female and male, something like that. But trying to say that our senses are so blunt and they're so gross that we can easily get affected by the glamour of this material creation. We get glamored by money, gold, lights, name, fame, maybe lust, opposite sex. We have been so much. But one person who is not affected by all these things, being in these things, being associated with these things, is not at all affected, is called a avadut, is called a transcendental personality. And that's where Nityananda, who's Balaram, he used to live like that. He used to have all gold chains. You don't see a renunciate with all gold chains and nice silken clothes with a nice beautiful turban and like that. So the reason it is explained is that because Balaram is a Shakti, it's an energy of Krishna, but he likes Krishna is experiencing that rasa, that mellow of being into that state of complete uh, transcendence. That's the right word, I guess. Complete transcendence, where you're not affected by anything. And that's what that statement here is made, that's come true, that since all the activities of material nature are controlled by your lordship, none of these activities affect you. So I just wanted to share that about Balaram. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. That is pretty good, I must say. Thank you for that. Absolutely. I'll keep on going with the reading. Just out of curiosity, how is this microphone sounding? Is it sounding okay? Is it popping? Or is it okay?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Roger. Both of you sound nice.
I was thinking you're asking that, how is it that we are using the microphone? We don't want the microphone. I want to be transcendental. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep on going here if everything is sounding good. Okay. All right. You are called Suklam, or witness.
Witness.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Whiteness is the symbolic representation of the absolute truth because it is unaffected by the material qualities. Lord Brahma is called Rakta, or red, because Brahma represents the quality of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of the cosmic manifestation are conducted by your potencies. Yet you are always unaffected by those qualities, as confirmed in the Vedas. Arhir Hai Nirguna Saksta. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord.
This is really interesting to me for a few reasons. Yeah, first of all, the nirguna, right? Not having material qualities, guna being qualities, particularly material, those qualities which entangle us, right? And the idea is that based on the intention and attention of our consciousness, we associate with different qualities. And as we were saying at the beginning of the show, about the last show, is we're trying to stay in the light, right? We're trying to remain in consciousness, in Krishna consciousness. We're trying to keep ourselves connected with the divine qualities. Why? Because divine qualities are nirguna. The divine person is never entangled. And so if we associate with him, we also do not become entangled. When we don't associate with him, it means we're associating with other entities and their qualities, and we become so affected. Now, what's especially interesting here is these colors, because this is not just what this book is saying, like this tradition, like actually all traditions recognize these different colors, like white, red, and black. And particularly like Tantra is divided into these three categories. And also like, I come from a plant medicine, like shamanic backgrounds, and they have the same understanding that there's like black magicians and white magicians, and then there's also red. And it is the meaning is like how you are working with energy. Black means like you're just for your own sake, you're working with energy for your own sake. The fact is we're all actually magicians. Magic, you could just say it's like manipulation of energy, which we're all doing. It doesn't just mean tricks and whatever. but it's like, we're all energy, we're all in this ocean of energy, and there are those that are just using it for our own pleasure, and that is, darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva because he annihilates it means it's destructive. If you live like that, you become a cancer in a sense, and it's annihilation is the result of that, and we experience that. If you live long enough, you'll see that kind of life ends in annihilation, and that's the greatest fear. And then there's the red path, which is quality of passion. And I don't know if I can explain that very well, but it's somewhere in between. You're working with things, but it's not destructive. It's like you can create things, but it's like a mixed mode. Whereas the white path is sinless, because it's selfless. It's not at all a selfish path. It's for the highest good. Everything is for the highest good, and that's in the mode of, goodness, right? And yeah, what else? Anyway, so like white magic, in a sense, like devotees are the highest white magicians. Chanting Hare Krishna is, one of my god brothers was explaining, it's the highest form of white magic. It's like, and if these terms work for you, not that we have to qualify them in that way, but we can understand, if we're familiar with these terms, that, what is white magic? You're taking whatever energy is here and you're offering everything to God. It means you're not taking anything for yourself. You're not holding on to things, which again, the mind is trying to do. It wants to hold things and take things for myself, or, if I do this, if I take this course, then in the future, I'll be able to get money. I'll be able to acquire more resources for myself, or if I pursue interacting with this person, I can get their energy. That's dark. It's darkness. Whereas, okay, this person is entering my sphere. I don't know why. It doesn't belong to me. It's the provision of God. And therefore, what can I do to elevate that person to God? Not take anything for myself. So generally those who are in that practice, they wear white, right? But which is like a representation of what? Of just effulgence, like not taking anything, like reflecting all the light back, like not taking anything for myself. Whereas those who generally wear a lot of black, not necessarily, but black absorbs light, right? It's just a way of understanding the nature of colors, right? So chanting Hare Krishna is the highest white magic, because you're like all of the energy that is in your system, that is like in your field, is being offered to the highest absolute truth, personality of Godhead. And that's very, very powerful. It's not just like, oh, you like occupying your time with singing this song and it's very repetitive and I don't understand how you're enjoying that. But it's like, no, it's very, very powerful to chant the names of God, because it will purify you. Like it will even force you to be purified, because these other modes, these red and dark modes, they don't work. You can't follow those paths. Yeah. And so we want to become like this. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, the red color is questioned, especially this colors thing, nowadays in the current scenario. You're experiencing a lot of white and black racism kind of stuffs. People are thinking about superiority, so inferiority. So there are like we can say that white is the opposite of black. And here we can practically think, that as we are thinking of different passions, so we can also think in a way of food, how food is also having, if there is red pepper, it's like, oh man, this is so spicy, passionate. And Ayurveda, one of the science which has been very ancient. Nowadays, many of the people in the European countries, they are running behind getting the knowledge of Ayurveda without the modern allopathic medicines. And it is said that the food which is in passion, it's bitter, too salty, or too hot, overly mixed with red pepper. And what does it does? It reduces the mucus in the stomach and it leads to disease. And then the food which is in the mode of ignorance, it's ignorance or dark, which are not fresh. So they're like, oh, the banana has become ripe and it has become black. I don't want to eat it. Like that. So that is totally rejected. And when it is in the white or it is in its original state, food, then like get it and you eat it nicely and you say, wow, it's so soothing. So yeah, as Balaram was mentioning, that these three color things is a very important way of marking it, saying, the three modes, passion. The white is representing goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the red color here is passion, because as soon as it is the color of blood also, I was thinking, isn't it? The color of blood, and when a warrior sees the blood, it becomes passion. Attacked. So this quality is so very common in our real life also, right? Yeah, I was just thinking that, What do you think, Jake, about it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can definitely speak to colors and wearing colors and how the things that you wear just say so much about you as a person when you're walking down the street. From my background, I mean, before Krishna consciousness, I was always wearing black, like black everything all the time. And it's like, and now I absolutely refuse to wear anything that's black at all. I will not wear, uh, I might maybe it like if it's cold out and all I have is like a black shirt to wear, then I will finally wear it. But I won't, because it affects you. It affects the people around you. What you wear affects you. And I'm telling you guys, I did not plan this out tonight. I absolutely did not plan it at all. So yeah, and thank forgive me for dicing up the Sanskrit there. I'm if it's
Oh,
one thing this show is doing for me, it's making me learn Sanskrit. Like but yeah. The colors that we wear really do represent. That's why lately I've been wearing more white all the time, or even like yellow, a muted green, muted reds, muted colors, blues, stuff like that. Muted greens are like my favorite right now because it's spring, maybe, I don't know, but yellow and green, I'm loving that right now. So yeah, it definitely, it just on that level. When you see a guy walking down the street wearing all black, you instantly know, like, okay, okay, something is going on here. So, I mean, obviously, you can't just judge a person on what they're wearing, when they're walking down the street, but you can kind of say, okay, this could be something, could not be. So, yeah.
Or maybe rather on the converse, because we wouldn't want to judge like that's not helpful. Unless, I mean, it may be, but you know, but if someone's like wearing all white, you know, it's like that person's probably a yogi, you know, or
Yeah,
something.
that's what when the yoga teachers training course ends, and there is a final day where you're getting certificate and everything, and then everyone is asked to wear a white color.
Mm.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it influences the aura, but where the real thing is like, what is the actual aura of the person, you know, and that takes some attunement to be sensitive to. We've got maybe 5 minutes or so.
This word Suklam, which has been mentioned here, is also like in Hindi or with the native language of India, it's bringing peace basically. Sukha, Sukhalam. Sukha means peace. So the word of Suklam is itself whiteness. And I was also thinking on a very philosophical level that the Lord also appeared in different yugas, you know, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, white, um, this red, white, and black. That it's like mentioned by Prabhupada in one of the purports. He's mentioning that the yugas are known as Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, and the incarnation of each yuga are different. So the colors are white, red, black, and yellow. And the yellow color is coming up. It is the time of Lord Chaitanya coming up, who came in the yellow color, the golden color, isn't it? So even the yellow color is so good. Balram is wearing yellow today.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as well. Could you want to say something about Krishna being black?
Oh, yeah. Krishna is. Prabhupada was in South Africa, and Prabhupada said Krishna is black. So all the devotees in South Africa, not in South Africa, in Africa, and all the devotees in Africa, they said, "Wow, Krishna is our color. Krishna is our color." And Prabhupada said, "He's black, but not like you." So the blackness over here is the dark rain cloud, which is bluish black, Shama Varna. He's also called as Shama Sundara. So that color of Krishna is black in the sense because Krishna is Shama Sundar. Is that blackish hue, rain cloud of color form? Yeah. So Krishna's color is black in the sense it is something which is we need to understand is we are all talking about black. Black is this, black is negative, black is darkness, but Krishna is black. So then Prabhupada says immediately, that Prabhupada says that the distinction between colors or distinction between shades and everything exists in this material creation, but in the spiritual world, which is transcendental, there is nothing contradictory. But because this world is relative, everything has its opposite. If there is a plus, there is a minus. If there is a high, there's a low, right? And that's where Prabhupada mentions that when things are applied to the absolute person, the supreme personality, Godhead, then they lose all contradictions. And then each and everything becomes transcendental. So just wanted to share that, yeah. About the understanding of black.
Yeah, it's like there's a description, I forget which canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, of the Lord appearing in a, because maybe like Lord Brahma was present and he's just like very effulgent, he's like shining brighter than the sun, right? And the sun is pretty much like white, a little yellowish or golden. But then the Lord comes and he's blackish color, but it said that he's brighter than Brahma, brighter than the sun. It's like, how is black color brighter? So we can't understand that, but it's because it's spiritual light. It's not dependent, or it's not right?
Comes in second canto, ninth chapter, I guess, where the creation is beginning up. And as we understand that Krishna is black in color, but Krishna has an aura, as you said, previously, that it all means about the aura. We don't see the people with their colors, and or neither we see them with the color of their clothes or something, but the aura they're carrying. So Krishna is black and beautiful, the black beauty. But then the aura coming from Krishna is the Brahman, is the effulgence, the Brahman effulgence, which is like self-illuminating the whole spiritual creation, the spiritual world. So when he appears in front of Brahma, who is in the material creation, is in the material universe, he's coming from the spiritual universe, and Brahma can see him, and that's where there is everywhere is light. Everywhere is light. And that is what we call, right? The presence of a divine personality brings auspiciousness, right? Whenever a divine person comes in our life, we feel all auspicious. We feel the life has been brightened. Oh, that soul is so beautiful. Yeah, as we say, that soul is so beautiful, it's brightening my life. The wife says to the husband, my husband is such a beautiful soul. They're brightening, but the husband is totally black in color. How can he bright the life of a person? So that's where, yeah, thank you for bringing that amazing second candle.
It's really about the personality then. Like it's because it's the personality that brightens our life. It's not like I'm using a light to make myself brighter. He doesn't need that. His personality itself is
Fact is, like, everyone is connected to the material light. The showrooms or the diamond showrooms, the jewelry showrooms, if the lights are gone, none of them are attracted to all these things. The yellow light falling over there, and then restaurants and so many, things.
yeah,
Everything
you
is
go downtown, it's got the neon signs.
like,
It's, it's
there's a small brainstorming before we end. Where was the time when you got attracted to some kind of light? Just think over there that you got attracted to a light. Like I remember when I walked on the Boston airport, and I was thinking, wow, this is America, and this is Boston airport. Wow, nice shops, nice, clean, and this, that. And then I realized that actually I'm getting attracted to the light, which is falling on the floor, which is falling on everything. But it is the same land, planet Earth. It is the same matter made of earth, water, fire, and ether. So I was thinking like that.
So this is too good of a point. So it's like the real like brightness that we're talking about is, and this is such a key point, it's personality, which is the aura of the person. It has nothing to do with the color. It's just a material quality as far as material light of color, because in the sun you could say, well, it's very bright, but that brightness is it's a material, it's just material light, it's color. But actually what we're interested in is the aura. Like the lights of downtown might be very shiny. We used the word glamorous earlier, but that glamorous, there's no substance behind it. The aura is like immensely dull. It dulls your consciousness. Whereas a bright personality, even if they're wearing dark clothes, or even if they're, Krishna is dark skinned, but their aura, their personality is very bright, and that is attractive. And that's what we're trying to key into. That's what we're trying to become sensitive to, and that's white. What is white magic, doing is it's evoking the brightness within us. Right. And that's what Krishna is doing. That's what all auspiciousness means. That's God. That's the presence of the Lord. And he exists within us. And we can also elicit his magic in our lives to be all auspicious, everywhere that we go. by just shining. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with how many diamonds you have on your body. It's a personality thing. That's very difficult though, because people, it's like they don't want to do that inner work to transform their personality. It's easier to just let me put on an external veneer. Let me, set up my shop so that there's all these bells and whistles and, shiny things, and that will attract people. But the sadhu is like, I don't need any of that. Krishna is all attractive. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Oh man, so good, so good. We are like straight up just out of time, but I don't know. I'm looking around here. I see a lot of people shining right now. So that is it for this episode. But thank you, people of YouTube and people of the internet, for tuning in and watching us. And thank you for putting up with my chopping up the Sanskrit. And thank you for making the time, both of you guys. Thank you so much for doing this. Should we end the show doing the Maha Mantra 3 times? Okay. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And we will check you out later. Haribo.
Haribo.